Now, Myanmar is just one of India's many challenges, arguably not the worst. The contenders for that spot are China and Pakistan. Tonight, we'll tell you about what Pakistan is up to. It's working on a new security nightmare. As we speak, Islamabad is expelling Afghan refugees. Thousands of them have lived in Pakistan for years. They are now being uprooted from their homes and forced to return to Afghanistan. Pakistan's decision has been criticized by the United Nations. The caretaker government is facing international humiliation, and they seem to have found a scapegoat. Pakistan has now blamed the Taliban for the exodus. They say expulsion is a result of Taliban's support to terrorists. It sounds exactly like it is. The pot is calling the kettle black. Pakistan is blaming the Taliban of supporting terrorism, and by doing so, they've shot themselves in the foot. Our next report tells you how.
Pakistan is reaping what it sowed. 2 years ago, Pakistan's then spy chief was seen taking a victory lap in Kabul. The American forces had left the country. The democratic government had collapsed, and the Taliban were back in power. The takeover was a win for Pakistan's generals. You could say they facilitated the Taliban's return. But this celebration did not last long. The Taliban, once beholden to Rawalpindi, are showing that they have a mind of their own. They're asserting themselves. This is Zabihullah Mujahid, the face of the Taliban before the press. This week, Mujahid trained his guns at Islamabad. He issued a strongly worded statement. It declared that Afghanistan is not responsible for maintaining peace in Pakistan, so Islamabad should stop blaming the Taliban. What was the trigger for this? An expulsion order. Islamabad is forcing thousands of Afghans to leave. These are undocumented migrants. 3.8 million Afghans live in Pakistan. Out of these, over 1 million are undocumented. They are now being rounded up in raids. They're being forced to return to Afghanistan. Bulldozers have been pressed into service. This was an Afghan colony outside Islamabad. A few days ago, Pakistani officials demolished every Afghan home here.
Where should we go? Our position is bad in Afghanistan, and it is bad here now. I was born here and have spent 40 years here. You tell me, where should I go now? We are helpless.
Their anger is directed towards this man, Anwar ul Haq Kakkad. He is Pakistan's caretaker prime minister. When asked about the evictions, he pinned the blame on the Taliban. Kakkad argues the deportations are necessary for Pakistan's security. There has been a sharp increase in terrorist attacks. After the Taliban's return in 2021, terror attacks in Pakistan have spiked by 60%. Suicide bombings have gone up by 500%. One group is driving this surge, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP. It pledges allegiance to the Taliban. It gets protection from Kabul. The Taliban's success gave momentum to the TTP. Their attacks became more ambitious. In recent months, they've ramped up strikes on Pakistani soldiers, the ISI, and local police officers. Pakistan demanded action from the Taliban. A ceasefire was mediated, but it did not hold. Finally, Islamabad gave Kabul a choice. It's either us or the TTP. And it seems the Taliban picked the TTP. And the fallout is obvious. Pakistan's ties with the Taliban are deteriorating rapidly. Reports say Islamabad is making a policy shift. It will withdraw all assistance to the Taliban. All special treatment of the Taliban's leaders stands withdrawn. Pakistani diplomats will stop acting as intermediaries between the Taliban and the international community. So the breakup is almost complete. Pakistan's harsh crackdown on Afghans has left the region more volatile. There is chaos at the border. It's the perfect breeding ground for terrorist groups to organize themselves and launch more attacks. Pakistan is reaping what it has sown. But this harvest is also hurting other players in the region. They cannot afford to let their guard down.